What up and welcome to the Beneath the Dirt podcast. I'm your host, Ron Bone. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 137 in the hot. What is good, everybody? Hope everybody's staying safe out there. And thank you again for tuning in, whether you're on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app. We got a lot of shit to talk about this week. A lot of news, a lot of new music. I had to pick and choose what we were going to talk about this week because I didn't want this shit to run super long. And yeah. So some shit we won't be talking about as far as new music goes. But we got motherfucking Richter finally speaks. Mikey Clark does an interview. Astronomicon is announced. Cabal pre-orders. Tech 9. A whole bunch of shit, man. But what the fuck is up, everybody? And let's get right into the bullshit. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's get into some new music. We got Hopsin. Hopsin dropped a brand new track, Bella Ciao. He dropped a video for it up on YouTube as well. And this shit is dope, man. I'm ready for new Hopsin. I'm ready for this dude to drop an album, man. These last bunch of singles he's been dropping ever since last year when he gave us COVID Mansion. I believe that was first track new song he gave us in a while. And I'm digging it. He's on his just talking shit, how he's ill, how he's dope and whatnot. But I dig it. I didn't get a chance to check out the video. I just listened to the song. I kind of just, I peeped a lot of the new music this week based off of my playlist that I put together every week. The Weekly Bumps playlist that's on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. I was bumping that shit. Just listening to all, new shit that dropped this week. And this was on there. And this shit is fire, man. Low-key killing it. I mean, not low-key. Hopsin. Sorry. Hopsin fucking killed it with Bella Ciao. Check that shit out. Shit's fire. But speaking of low-key, getting a little ahead of myself, he did drop Metanoia. I believe that's the correct way to say it. We had a little lesson last week on how to say the name of the new album, but Metanoia is out. It's available on all DSPs, Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. And I did listen to it. I did bump it a bunch of times, and this shit is dope. Solid rock album from Low-Key. This is rock with singing. Blood of Izu was metal. That shit was screaming. Metal as fuck. But this album right here is him just singing his ass off with some dope ass rock music. Some of these songs really do give me, throwback vibes from the 90s. I know he was calling this a new metal album. There's no rapping on here, but it really does give me some throwback vibes. So if you like the music from Blood of Izu and you like this singing on the Eyes of Parasuva, peep this shit out. I really dig this album. I've been bumping it a lot. Low-Key's the shit. Killing it. Super dope. And then we got a new announcement from Isham. Isham been super active on social medias lately, talking his shit and just doing his thing. But if you notice, he's been hashtagging RN on pretty much damn near every post that he's posting up on all his social media accounts. And that is the single that is dropping this Friday, RN. I have no idea what it stands for. But Isham coming out, dropping a new single this Friday. So be on the lookout for that, I think what was his last project? She Loves Me, She Hates Me. Double album that he dropped. So we got the new single dropping this Friday. I'll peep it when it drops. I don't really have any expectations for it. I don't really go into any of Isham's newer shit, and I don't really ever have any high expectations, unfortunately. But, that's the godfather of the wicked shit right there. And he is dropping some new shit this Friday. And we got interviews. People fucking talking their shit. And one person that we haven't heard talk their shit or really even say anything is Johnny Richter. He did just drop a single with the new group King Click a couple weeks back. We Want It All. King Click is Johnny Richter, Chucky Chuck, Obnoxious. The song was featuring Madchild and Jared from Head PE. But Richter don't do interviews like that. Richter doesn't really speak like that. The last time we heard Richter kind of talk and, do his thing was when Kottonmouth Kings first broke up, I believe. Not broke up, but when he was kicked out of the group, rather. When he was kicked out of the group or he left, whatever the situation was. Remember he went, I believe it was Fago Lovers, and posted a fucking long-ass video to answering questions from the fans and whatnot. So, he don't do interviews or anything like that, really. But he did take to Instagram last week, and I don't think this was necessarily planned. This whole thing that he talked about, he went live for damn near 45 minutes. And he talked about a lot of stuff. I took a lot of notes on this interview. And he went on IG Live. They were shooting a new video for the King Click. He was checking to see if anybody had any, old school cars that wanted to be in the music video. So basically that's how the live started. And somebody asked a question about D-Loc, and he went off on a whole rant, but somebody asked him how he got his name, Johnny Richter. He got his name based off fireweed. Somebody that he hung out with saying, that shit's off the Richter, or this is the Richter, some shit like that. And basically that's how he got the Johnny Richter name, because that's not his real name. If you didn't know. Try to think where to go with this. I have so many fucking notes on this interview. Like, he talked about a lot of stuff in this interview. Talked about possibly collaborating with Big B. Being in contact with Big B recently. Big B. I fuck with Big B. I didn't really like the Felons Club project, but I like to see them back working together. They used to fuck with each other heavy back in the day. And the Suburban Noise, the heyday of Suburban Noise, man. Like Big B, especially on those Sub Noise Soldiers albums. That second one, that was like the Big B and Dirtball show. That Dropping Bombs album. And the one thing I noticed with Johnny Richter on this IG Live was he really tries to pick his words. Like he really thinks about what he wants to say, and he's not really trying to offend anybody, but he wants to get his point across at the same time. That's one thing I noticed with this shit. But he was asked about D-Loc. Fuck it. Let's get right into it. He was asked about D-Loc. He said he doesn't want to be involved in the he said, she said shit on the internet. D-Loc, he loves it. He did the interview couple months back before the album came out. Me. It was all fucking me. I did this, I did that. Me, thank me. Remember the fucking IG Live he did a couple years back when he was touring with Johnny Richter? And he kind of did a similar video. I have it posted up on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. Shit got like 30,000 views on it. But that was all me, I as well. You should thank me. But anyway, Johnny Richter said you don't really want to get into it, but he did kind of get into it on here. He says he does know the paperwork of Kottonmouth Kings, and he does say that D-Loc does own a part of Kottonmouth Kings, and that Daddy X sold his part of Kottonmouth Kings when he sold the rights to the music in the Cleopatra deal. So if you didn't know, we've talked about it so much on this podcast. I've been covering this shit for the last couple years. But Daddy X sold the rights to the music to Cleopatra Records. And they're the ones that have it up on all digital. They're re-releasing some of the shit on vinyl. They even re-released the fucking greatest hits and just repackaged it. The same shit that they did when Daddy X put out the greatest hits. So he does confirm that D-Loc does own a part of Kottonmouth Kings, and Daddy X sold his part in Kottonmouth Kings. It's crazy, man. Like, that shit will always make money. Like, dude must have been hurting for money in order for him to want to sell his part in Kottonmouth Kings. He talks about how he made a deal with D-Loc when they started making music and when they went back on tour a couple years back for the Kingdom Come record to split merch 50-50. And that he hasn't seen any money since July of last year. So I put out the episode maybe about a month and a half ago, the Delusional podcast, where I talk about D-Loc and how this dude is just completely out of his fucking mind. Doing this Kottonmouth King solo project. And doing all this shit, not paying anybody, presumably. Johnny Richter kind of confirming it right here. We know, at least according to Johnny Richter, that he's not getting paid. And he's supposed to be getting 50-50 on all the merch. So that means, and confirms my theory of D-Loc not paying anybody for the OG Kottonmouth King demos. How the fuck are you going to drop the OG Kottonmouth King demos and not pay the dude that's on the record? I have to assume that Saint's family ain't getting paid for that shit either. Saint supposedly, allegedly didn't get paid for the Kingdom Come record either. So Richter ain't getting paid off any Kottonmouth Kings merch that you buy. It's just all going to D-Loc. D-Loc. What Johnny Richter was trying to get across in this interview is Loc is doing this for the money, just to make a quick buck, using the fucking name to make a buck, not giving a fuck about the legacy. And that's the shit I was saying on the Delusional episode month and a half ago. So he ain't getting money off any merch, any of the OG demo sales. I bought a copy, and it sucks to know that, whatever percentage one copy of that album goes to, it just goes all to Loc and not Saint or Richter, who was a part of that album. Shit, Daddy X was on the OG demos too. Sure, he had something to do with those demos. What the fuck I wonder what Cleopatra Records thinks of this dude using the Kottonmouth King's name. Like, is he doing this shit legit? I fucking highly doubt it. If Cleopatra does in fact own the name, I would imagine they could do something about it. If they presumably own half of it, if it was split 50-50 between him and Daddy X. But who the fuck knows? And then Johnny Richter asks, tell me how you'd feel if you're owed tens of thousands by your homie and you were asked to do music. Like, seriously. Dude's not getting paid off any of the merch when there was, allegedly an agreement made, 50-50 merch deal. And you ain't getting paid. So what the fuck kind of motivation would you have to do anything with somebody who's actively fucking screwing you over and not giving you any kind of money? I ain't fucking running somebody, if I'm in Richter's shoes, I ain't fucking running to hop on a fucking song with D-Loc that Loc probably sent over and that probably fucking sucks. I've heard bad things about that 25 to Life record. Bad things. I haven't listened to it and I won't. The only thing keeping Johnny Richter from doing music before being taken advantage of financially is him not wanting to email verses back and forth to each other and wants to actually be in the studio. Sounds like D-Loc just wants to email shit back and forth and not get together and be in the studio together. And that's what really was prevented from Johnny Richter from doing songs with D-Loc on some newer shit. You know, besides the fact that, you know, he's being taken advantage of financially. So, I mean, and he said all the best music was made when they were together in the studio working on shit. And you could tell, and Richter talked about it before. Loc even talked about it in the interview where, you know, they weren't even in the studio. Songs were being done and they were just being sent to each other. And you could tell that music took a hard fucking nosedive probably after the Coast to Coast album. After that album, shit just didn't seem, it wasn't as good, in my opinion. Some of those albums I haven't even heard yet. You know, if you remember, Loc was talking about when Dirtball was brought into the group, and they were Daddy X was working on songs with Dirtball, and then, you know, songs are just being emailed to each other. Like, shit's crazy. Imagine being in a group and you're just sending verses back and forth to each other and shit, and not actually working on songs together. The only other time I could think of that, and the album is actually my favorite metal album of all time, is Pantera's Great Southern Trendkill. They recorded all the music without Philip Anselmo, and then just sent it to him, and then he did his vocals. That's just crazy, and I fucking love that album. But anyway, he's not going to pretend to be friends with someone who doesn't have an interest in being friends, and only interest seems to be is to make a quick buck and take advantage of people's emotions. So Johnny Richter's not going to pretend to be friends with this dude. And I got the feeling when they were on tour for that Kingdom Come record, it was a lot of those posts on social media was just D-Loc. You know, on the Kottonmouth Kings page, the D-Loc page, a lot of that shit was just D-Loc. Richter would be here and there, but Richter didn't seem like he was there. It didn't seem like the group, like the feeling like them wanting to be there was really there. Like they were just doing it to do it. So the music's going to suffer. The product is going to suffer if you're just doing it just to fucking do it and quote unquote carry on the legacy, of the group name or whatever. Like you can't do that. The fans will tell, and I feel like the fans can tell. At least I could tell. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of other people online, they could fucking tell. So I don't blame them for any of this shit so far. Doesn't want to lie to fans about being friends with someone he's talked to 3 times during COVID. So they don't even talk to each other. They've talked to each other 3 times in the last year and couple months, basically. So I can appreciate Johnny Richter not wanting to do this just to fucking do it. And not to just make a quick buck. Like he wants to make this shit like it was in the old days, like this whole shit. And he gets into it later on too. He says he has all these emails and call logs to show that D-Loc wasn't reaching out like he said he was. In D-Loc's interview, he was talking about how he was sending songs to Johnny Richter, trying to get Johnny Richter on songs, trying to get Johnny Richter on the Saints song. Johnny Richter was talking about Saints passing, how he heard Saint wasn't doing good. And then he heard about Saint passing, rest in peace to Saint. Trying to get in touch with D-Loc and not being able to get in touch with him for a few days. From, the time that Saint passed. And that he talked to Kevin Zinger. And next thing he knows, apparently D-Loc had talked to Kevin Zinger right after Richter did, and Richter was heading to a studio in Arizona, I believe. And D-Loc reached out to him talking about, yo, let's do this Saint track. Let's do the Saint track and whatnot. After not fucking returning calls or anything from Johnny Richter from when Saint passed. But all of a sudden wants to hop on a fucking Saint track. And Johnny Richter said, if we're going to do a fucking Saint track, I want to be with him and bounce ideas off each other and come up with the best track we can for Saint. You know, talk about Saint, talk, you know, and deliver the best fucking possible song. You know, that song is called a Kottonmouth King song, but it's just D-Loc and some other dude. And it's not a bad song. You know, it's not a bad song. Probably the only decent song on that album. But it's fucked that Richter wasn't on it, only because Loc doesn't want to be in the fucking same room with this dude, apparently. Or work on music together. Richter said he doesn't remember receiving an email about the Saint track or even getting the Saint song. So Loc saying that is apparently, you know, not fucking true. So, I don't know, man. I felt like Loc was taking advantage of a situation when all that shit happened. I never wanted to fucking say it because it's fucked up. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Saint. Rest in peace to the OG King. But yeah, I still feel like Loc's taking advantage. You know what I mean? But the Pakalika thing too. It's fucked up. Dude didn't go to fucking dude's service. You know? He was at Saints fucking talking crazy shit. A whole bunch of crazy stuff. Which we'll get into because Johnny Richter addressed it here as well. Basically, Richter was talking about all the nonsense that D-Loc was saying, has been saying lately. Dude's been on some nonsense lately, like straight the fuck up. On some nonsense. All this me shit. I'm Kottonmouth Kings. It's all me. And then apparently on the record, it's we, our. Fuck out of here with that shit, man. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Somebody asked him if he was on the fuck D-Loc train. He said, no, I'm not. I'm not on the fuck D-Loc train. And he doesn't want to talk shit because he doesn't know what Loc is going through. And it doesn't seem like Loc is going through, he's, the way he worded it, you know, he doesn't know if he's going through anything as far, you know, mentally, as far as doing shit. Drugs, perhaps. I don't know. See a lot of people accusing of that. I try to stay away from that shit just because I don't know. And I think it's fucked up. Because if somebody is on drugs or abusing some kind of substance, shouldn't talk shit about it because the person just needs to get help. So I'm not going to speculate if he is or not. But, you know, whether he's doing something like that or, you know, just going through some emotional shit. He doesn't want to talk shit because he doesn't know what Loc is going through. So he's not on the fuck D-Loc train. But at the same time, it's not okay to rip off a homie and narcissistically believe he's something, you know, the group, Kottonmouth Kings, and the only reason they're not making music is because Richter won't return his calls. You know, Richter said multiple times that, you know, I could provide the fucking emails and call logs to show what is actually what. So, you know, and Loc is on some narcissistic shit. Doing the Kottonmouth Kings thing dolo. Calling it Kottonmouth Kings when it's just D-Loc. It's just a glorified D-Loc album. The fuck, man. He did talk about the tracks that he was sent So apparently he was sent a couple tracks. The tracks that he was sent, he wouldn't do no matter who sent them, and couldn't listen to them more than once. That's rough. That's rough. And that kind of confirms what I've been hearing from people about 25 to Life is that it's terrible. It's not good. I heard it was mixed bad and everything. Like, it just wasn't good in general. I'll never listen to it, you know? I never listened to the Crown Power album after Richter got kicked out of the group. I don't know if I'll ever listen to it, you know? But he said he couldn't listen to any of the tracks more than once. And that's why he wants to be in the studio with someone versus just emailing shit back and forth. Because you could be sent some shit that you're not really feeling, and you could send some shit that the other person ain't feeling. He was saying it both ways. Like, he could send Loc some shit that Loc wouldn't be feeling, and vice versa. And that he wants to be in the studio with somebody who isn't so hard-headed and could take constructive criticism and not have the ego. He said there's no room for egos in this shit. You know? Makes sense to me. If you're in a group of people, I believe you should be able to tell each other, like, hey, I don't know, man. Maybe you could do that shit a little bit better. Maybe you could do it like this. You know, he was talking about King Click and how Johnny Richter, Chucky Chuck and Obnoxious have to be okay with shit like that. And they could do it to him. You know, that shit's not good. Maybe you should, say this instead or whatever. You know, that shit makes sense to me. To make the best possible music that you can fucking make, you gotta fucking bring out the best in each other. Can't just email shit back and forth. Like, shit is fucking stupid. And he was talking about how King Click is family vibes, trying to rebuild the movement that once was. Whereas DLoc, in his opinion and in my opinion, is just doing this to do it. Make a quick buck off the name Kottonmouth Kings. Not really giving a fuck about the legacy, because if you gave a fuck about the legacy, you would try to make amends with the people that were in the group as well. And try to fucking really rebuild what once was. And not just do some glorified solo shit like you're fucking doing. He did talk about being in contact with Bobby B. Talking to Bobby B. And he brought up the fact, it sounded like Bobby B reached out to possibly do music with Richter. If you follow Bobby B on social medias, he's heavy on fuck KMK, fuck Suburban Noise type shit. But apparently he reached out to Johnny Richter to do some music. And Richter said he wants the friendship to be strong before doing music. And that was his mistake with D-Loc. Getting back with him on the Kingdom Come record was not rebuilding the friendship and just jumping back into music, just to do the music. And he doesn't want to, do that. He'd rather build the friendship. And if music comes from it, dope. So it sounds like Richter and Loc never even fucking rebuilt their fucking relationship. Richter got kicked out. Apparently they didn't speak to each other for like 5 years after he got kicked out of the group or left, whatever the case may be. And apparently they still fucking barely even talk now. But he said he's done making music just to sell a record, trying to focus on positive vibes and not negatives. So rebuilding relationships, he says he's talked to Bobby B a few times in the last couple months. And if music comes from it, dope. Doesn't want to focus on the negative shit, wants to focus on the positive shit. And then one of the more important things he talked about on this IG Live was Saints leaving the group or being kicked out of the group. If you remember at Saints memorial service, D-Loc was talking about how it was Daddy X who kicked Saint Dog out of the group. And Johnny Richter was saying that it was a group decision to kick Saint out of the group, and that l.o.c had more of an input than he's letting on, and was one of the more stronger proponents of kicking Saint out of the Kottonmouth Kings. So, and this is some shit that I've heard behind the scenes as well, about l.o.c really being one of the more prominent voices in taking Saint out of the group. So it's fucked up, you know? And I believe it's okay to make amends and shit like that, which I'm surprised fucking Saint would do with that Kingdom Come record, considering his history with Kottonmouth Kings. So, you know, Saint got back in the group, was able to put that shit aside from being kicked out, 20 years prior. Richter even came back. But it's I think it really boils down to the whole thing of not rebuilding the relationship and just doing the shit to do it. And that's why the shit didn't last. Saint was around when they were touring, but was unable to tour or even do shows locally. Was it because of the probation shit? Probably. I mean, to me, that makes sense, but I'm not 100%. But it just seems like that it wasn't really put together for the right reasons. That whole the Kingdom Come shit, and it's just a fucking debacle, this whole Kottonmouth Kings thing. It's such a fucking mess. He talks about producers not being paid for show mixes for the tours that he did with d-loc. So people not being paid yet again. I can't imagine, like, if you listen to l.o.c on his IGs or anything like that, his stories, dude doesn't seem all the way there. He just doesn't. Doesn't seem all the way there. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing that Johnny Richter was talking about during that IG live. It's just fucking sad to see, man. I'm glad Johnny Richter's getting his fucking truth out there. We got Johnny Richter's truth. We got l.o.c's truth over there. And there's some truth probably more closer to Richter's side than it is on d-loc's side, to be fucking honest. It ain't in the middle. d-loc's completely fucking delusional, if you ask me. I'm hyped for this new King Click project. 100%. I'm mad hyped for this shit. That first single was fucking fire. Super dope. Richter talking about rebuilding relationships. Maybe that's why we didn't get new music as fast as we wanted. Or I'll say I wanted. When the whole Suburban Noise reboot happened, I was like, here we go. We're going to get fucking hit with music. Because back in the day, Kottonmouth Kings they just drop shit constantly. Constantly. It was like on some Tech 9 shit, dropping 2 albums a year. You'd get a brand new full length, and then you get like a hidden stash or some kind of remix record or whatever. But they were always dropping shit. So I thought that's what's going to happen. But I get the feeling after listening to Johnny Richter talk that, nah, we ain't going to do that. We're going to sit here. We're going to rebuild the relationships that we once had, or rebuild new relationships, with Obnoxious. Obnoxious is in the group. He's the new dude on the block. So build a relationship with him. Get back with Chucky, do his thing with Chucky. Now we got the King Click project. I'm super fucking hyped for it. It seems like he's hyped for it. He's talking about doing the music video. Talking about he's the biggest fan of his own shit. Makes sense to me. Says he makes music that he likes, and it's just dope that other people happen to like it as well. So, hearing Richter's side, hearing what d-loc could possibly be doing as far as not paying people, and just living in his own fucking little D-lusional land. You know what I mean? This dude is fucking... I don't know what he's thinking, what the fuck he's doing. I can't wait for the King Click project, though. It was dope to hear from Richter. I just wish Loc would get his head out of his ass or out of the fucking clouds, man. Like, his head is so fucking... I can't even think of the word. He's just not here. And he thinks he's doing the right thing when he's not. So, I'm hyped for the King Click shit. Hyped to hear new Richter at any fucking time, man. You know, the single that they released, the King Click single, sounded good. Like, the mix on it was good. That shit bangs in the whip. That shit sounded dope. I'm excited for that shit, man. Can't wait for that shit to drop. But let's get into some more fucking news that popped off this week. ICP. Let's get into some fucking ICP news. Haven't talked about them in a while, right? Or at least it seems like. Ever since the April streams dropped, haven't really talked about ICP, but at the Prom Night Massacre show, they had an exclusive CD that was supposed to be given away at that show and wasn't, you know, kind of typical at this point, promising some shit and not delivering on those promises. But the CD, people actually started receiving the CD last week and it was uploaded to YouTube. The song is called The Grump. And it is making me have very low expectations for Yum Yum Bedlam. Yum Yum's lure was not good in my opinion. I see some people like it. A lot of people don't like it. I asked people what they thought about this new track, The Grump. At least 90% of the feedback I saw was this shit is trash. Shit is not good. Oh man, I really hope that they're just giving us the shit. Like doo-doo music before Yum Yum Bedlam drops. I hope they're just unloading all the trash before they give us the fire. I really hope that. I'm not gonna expect that, I guess, but I can hope it. And it's not good, man. I don't know. This song kind of sounds like some Fearless Fred Fury shit. Maybe a leftover track that didn't make Fred Fury or Flip the Rat. I don't know, but it's just not good, man. It's not good. It's not looking good for Yum Yum Bedlam, which is quite unfortunate, being that it's the first female Joker's card. So it's quite unfortunate, but the song's just not good. And it is up on YouTube. No idea if it'll be up on Apple Music or Spotify or anything like that. And speaking on more broken promises, I haven't talked about it. I purposely haven't fucking talked about it. Because what's my thing is, what's the point? The gift bags for April were promised to be sent by May 1st. They were not. But we did get an email. If you were subscribed to ICP's Patreon last month, you should have gotten an email from ICP saying, great news. We got the official word that the April gift bags will be shipped out by the end of next week, which is this week. We know it's a little late. Yeah, about 3 weeks late. But we wanted to make sure this gift bag was the best one we've given out so far. I just want that Fearless Fred Fury fucking deluxe CD. It's all I really give a fuck about. So keep an eye on your mailboxes and stay tuned. We'll be announcing our massive June lineup very shortly. All right. So we got June streams popping off in just over a week from now. June 1st is next Tuesday. So apparently we'll be getting an announcement soon about some streams for next month. Who's going to subscribe? The numbers have to be going down. They have to be going down at this point. You know, I guess we'll wait and see if the gift bags do get shipped. Will they actually provide people with tracking numbers this time? It ain't that hard. It can't be that fucking hard to keep track of what you're sending to people to be able to provide tracking numbers. They didn't do it with the last gift bags. I'm still seeing people saying that they haven't got the October gift bag and the Yum Yums Lure CD. I saw ICP selling the Yum Yum Lure CD at the garage sale that they had this past weekend. I'll call it a garage sale. I don't know. They had another fucking sale at the headquarters. Apparently, they still haven't moved out of the offices officially yet. But they were selling the Yum Yum Lure CD. I saw some dude with a fucking stack of them in the Psychopathic Museum with a stack of Yum Yum Lure CDs. So they're selling Yum Yum Lure CDs with people allegedly still not getting them. I don't know. I know I got mine. I know a lot of people got theirs, but it seems like there might be a handful of people, maybe a little more, that haven't received their gift bags from October and or December. Some of these people might be confused if they were fucking subscribed or not. I don't know. Some of these juggalos aren't the brightest bulbs in the shed, but so allegedly, supposedly, the gift bags for April will be sent out by the end of this week. We'll see. If they're not, I don't know if I'll subscribe to June. It depends on if there is a gift bag for June or not. We'll just have to wait and see. So, yeah. It's just a mess, man. Very unorganized over there at Psychopathic Records these days. And I don't know if they've ever were organized, but I don't think it was ever this bad. And then in other ICP news, I saw a clip of, I believe his name is Ryan Satin of the WWE Network on Fox. An analyst for WWE on Fox Sports or something. I don't know. But he was seen wearing an ICP for the WWE Hall of Fame 2022 t-shirt. So apparently there is another push to get ICP into next year's Hall of Fame, next year's WWE Hall of Fame. People have been trying for years to get ICP in the Hall of Fame. I've seen them induct very questionable people into the WWE Hall of Fame, so I don't see any reason why ICP shouldn't be inducted into the fucking Hall of Fame. The Oddities, they had that fucking song. That song was dope. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool though. Seeing this dude rocking an ICP for the WWE Hall of Fame t-shirt on the WWE Network or Fox or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch wrestling. I caught it online. So I have no idea. I don't know shit about wrestling. Last time I watched wrestling I did watch some NXT probably 5-6 years ago, and it was pretty good. But I just kind of fell off with it. Once all the good people left, the ones that I was watching. But that was probably the last time I watched wrestling. NXT, probably 5-6 years ago. And then before that was probably when Vince McMahon faked his death, and that was so bad. I was like, I can't fucking watch this. It's so bad. Wrestling is just not good anymore. I'm surprised people still watch that shit. And a lot of juggalos do. I see it on my timelines pretty much fucking weekly. I do appreciate the old shit, the 80s, the 90s. That's the shit that I grew up on, But I thought that was pretty fucking cool to see. And then we had a fucking interview with Mikey Clark last week. Mikey Clark, fucking out of nowhere, we had an interview with Mikey Clark. Speaking of having very little expectations for Yum Yum Bedlam, I'd feel a lot better if Mikey Clark came back in to the picture here. You know what I mean? But I got a bunch of notes for this interview as well. Mikey Clark said that he's just getting back into music. So it makes sense why he hasn't been working with ICP. I thought we were going to get a Project Deadman album. They were hyping that shit about a year and a half ago. Nothing came of that, but it sounds like he's just getting back into music. He's going through old cassette tapes cataloging his old shit, finding unreleased and different mixes of certain songs. I would love to hear old school, unreleased ICP shit produced by Mikey Clark. Like, that's the shit. Like, if there's any of that shit left, I would love to hear stuff like that. What else did he talk about? He talked about almost deleting the beat for Dead Body Man. He was talking about how he's his own worst enemy as far as when he critiques his own shit. He hates listening to his own shit. He said it's hard for him to go back to listen to all the old ICP shit. He's just now starting to being able to do that and appreciate it for what it is. But he was talking about making the beat for Dead Body Man and how he would make a beat and be working on it for hours, not feeling it. And he said on the keyboard or whatever, the MPC he was working on, if you turn the machine off, it wouldn't save the file, obviously. But if you held the button and double tapped it to turn it off, turn it back on real quick, the beat would still be there. And apparently he did that for the Dead Body Man beat, and he almost deleted that shit. So imagine there being no Dead Body Man because this dude deleted the beat because he wasn't feeling the beat. And he's his own worst critic because he wasn't feeling it in the moment of making the beat. That's just crazy, man. I can't imagine what it's like to be a beat maker or making music or anything like that and just being like, nah, fucking scrap that shit. But you're throwing away what could possibly be a classic. Like, that's just crazy. It was a pretty fucking dope interview all around, talking about working with ICP, working on the Great Malenko album, how they recorded the Great Malenko album, and talks about meeting Kottonmouth Kings. And it was just overall dope interview. I have a bunch of notes here, but I just fucking suggest that you go peep the interview. He talked about how Kid Rock fucking screwed him over on that All Summer Long song that Mikey Clark produced that was for ICP. He did confirm that All Summer Long beat was for ICP because Violent J wanted that Werewolves of London sample. I believe that's the sample. So it was originally for ICP, but ended up being Kid Rock, and then Kid Rock screwed him out of it. Didn't even get him producer's credit or anything for it. It's fucked up, man. Feel like producers get the shit end of the stick a lot. And the interview towards the end got really dark when he started talking about how Kid Rock screwed him on that song and how he wasn't as savvy on the business end of shit throughout his career. Not reading contracts or probably not bringing them to fucking attorneys to look him over or whatever, and just being screwed over. He talked about how salty he was at ICP when they stopped working with each other in 2001. He said he was salty at them for a few years, probably over bad business. He talked about how everybody else was rich, driving fancy cars and shit, and he's still broke. It's fucked up, man. Mikey Clark made a lot of classics. A lot of classics. He had a very important role in a lot of these, super classic records that we fucking know and love today, man. Ringmaster, Riddlebox, Malenko, Jackal Brothers. So it sucks to hear that kind of shit. He didn't get into any kind of crazy details or anything about that shit. But it's just fucked up knowing that he got screwed over in some capacity. Because he didn't go into details. I don't know. But he did talk about how funny ICP is, how fucking funny they are. Like they'd be in the studio and he'd just be dying laughing. Like he talked about one point of Violent J. He would go to the store, grab a Fago or something, and come back with some crazy ass detailed story. And how Violent J really is a great storyteller. You know, I always say Violent J is easily a top 10 storyteller in hip hop, in my personal opinion. Like his storytelling is fucking top notch. Amy's in the attic, fucking Hallelujah, whole bunch of shit, man. I want my shit. But yeah, his storytelling is top notch. It's a dope interview. It's on the Supcast, SUP cast, you know, instead of podcast, Supcast. All I did was type in Mike E. Clark, and it was like one of the first things that popped up. So it's up on YouTube. It's a super dope interview. They're talking about doing another interview again, but definitely worth listening to. A lot of fun shit that he talked about, a lot of sad shit he talked about as far as the business end of the music. So it sucked hearing that shit, and it did get dark towards the end. But overall, it was a super dope interview from Mikey Clark, and I'm just glad this dude's coming back into the picture slowly but surely, because hopefully we can get a fucking album from ICP produced by Mikey Clark at some point. That shit would be dope. Like, I hope that shit happens again, because I think them pulling off Fred Fury was an anomaly. I was thinking about that this week. I think that was just kind of, they fucking got lucky with that one. And that's a dope ass album, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see what the Yum Yum Bedlam brings us. The Yum Yum Flower, the 5th card of the second deck. I don't have high expectations for it, but if Mikey Clark was involved, I'd have a lot more hope for it than I do as of right now. Now let's get into some fucking Majik Ninja and Twiztid news. All that shit. Last week, Blaze Your Homie be posted up on Facebook. I was just scrolling through Facebook. I don't check Facebook that much. You know, I do have a profile. It's under a fake name. You can't look me up. It's private. So even if you knew my name, you wouldn't be able to find it. I have it set up so that's the case. So you fucking weirdos can't find me on Facebook. I don't have any friends on there. I just follow all music people on there. And Blaze Your Homie posted up on Facebook last week talking about he's in the fucking studio working on some Zodiac imprint beats that he's got from the r.o.c. This is fucking dope. I'm hyped for it. The first Zodiac imprint project, the Ride the Stars, just celebrated an anniversary last week. And he's talking about working on new music now, new Zodiac shit with the r.o.c. So I'm glad to see, you know, Blaze and r.o.c. still working together, doing shit. And hopefully we'll get a new Zodiac imprint project. You know, who the fuck knows, man? Majik Ninja it just seems like you never know what the fuck you're going to get from them. But I'm glad to see them work in the studio, working on shit together. And speaking of r.o.c., this dude got another single dropping in just a couple weeks. June 11th, he's dropping Cause and Effect, another new single from the r.o.c. This is like the 4th one that we'll have in just a couple of months' time. So really, this dude's given us an EP in the last couple months. I really hope this is a sign from a new album from the r.o.c. You know, he's given us new singles. New Zodiac is supposedly in the works. I'm here for it. Sign me the fuck up. Super dope. And then Twiztid got a new single dropping this week featuring Spencer of Ice Nine Kills. Song is called Envy. And this is off the Unlikely Prescription Rock album. I've heard the preview of it. I've been hooting and hollering saying that I hope they collab with Rob Zombie for the Rock Project. The sound that they're going for is not a Rob Zombie sound. Out of all the songs we've heard, this is more of like a screamo, whiny crybaby type rock project that we're going to be getting from Twiztid. And I'm not hating on it because the songs sound good. They sound good. This one right here, I don't know. I heard the preview. I'd rather fucking just wait to hear the whole track to make a fucking fully educated opinion on it, I guess. But pretty much all the singles they've released for Unlikely Prescription have been dope. Rose Petal is fucking fire. Probably the best one that they've released so far. And I think that's why they released that one first. Because the shit is dope. But we got Ice 9 Kills, the first confirmed feature for the Unlikely Prescription project, coming from Twiztid. And Monoxide took to a live stream last week talking about Unlikely Prescription. He said it's done and off for mastering. So whatever they were waiting to finish it off. Last time I talked about it on the podcast, it's done. It's being mastered now. He's hoping to have it out by the end of the summer. He talked about working with Spencer from Ice 9 Kills. He seemed super pumped about it. I have no idea who the fuck Ice 9 Kills is. Like, are they a popular band? I have no idea. I guess a quick Google search could probably fucking answer that for me, but now fuck it. And he's saying with this rock record, with the Unlikely Prescription record, the people that have heard it are saying that they actually have something like special on their hands. And he's excited that somebody else besides him is saying that they actually have some shit that they're getting ready to release, because Monoxide, he's damn near just as good as Violent J is hyping his own shit, saying how fucking dope it is and whatnot. Sometimes it lives up to the hype and sometimes it doesn't. Twiztid's been pretty much living up to the hype lately, though, killing fucking everything that damn near everything that they've been releasing, I should say. So, but he's excited somebody outside of the camp is saying that they got something special on their hands. And he's talking about Venomous 5. Venomous 5. Supposedly it was done last time I talked about it. But he's saying it's done except for Axe's parts. So Allah Zululu has got to do their parts and then Venomous 5 is done. I thought fucking Venomous 5 was done. I hope this project happens this year, man. I really hope it does, but I'm just glad it's being worked on. And it seems like it's done on Twiztid's end. Just waiting for fucking Zool at this point. So I'm fucking... If you ask me what I'm more hyped for, Unlikely Prescription or fucking Venomous 5, V5 easily. Come on now. Come on, son. Definitely way more hype for some V5 than a fucking rock album for sure. And that was pretty much it from his live stream last week. So, new Twiztid single on Friday. And hopefully V5 coming this year. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. And then last week we were talking about Chris Calico. Chris Calico leaving Strange Music and now going through the Great Merch Company, which is run by Magic Ninja. And I decided to do a little research. And I went to the Great Merch Instagram page, because they do have an Instagram page, and looked to see who they were following. They were only following like 10 people. And two of the people that they were following, one of them was Trick Trick. Trick Trick, a rapper from Detroit. So I looked to see if he had a merch page. I couldn't find his merch page. Another person that they were following was Royce da 5'9". Royce da 5'9", y'all know, one of my favorite rappers out right now. And I went to his merch store, heavenstudiostore.com. And I went and just poking around to see what I could find, and it said shipping. All orders will be shipped in 12 to 4 business days of being placed from Detroit, Michigan. Orders are fulfilled by Great Merch Co. in conjunction with Heaven Studios, Inc. So, Great Merch Co., which does Ritz, Jelly Roll, Chris Calico, Trick, and Royce the 5'9". Owned and operated by people that run Magic Ninja. I don't know who specifically. You probably could find the fucking info online. I didn't look. I don't care that much. But it is interesting to see Magic Ninja expand like this and have a merch company do merch for these other artists like this, like Royce the 5'9". And I've never had a problem with the M&E shop, Twiztid shop, whatever the fuck. So I would have no problem ordering some shit from Royce. A lot of these people, a lot of these rappers and artists online, you order some shit and you don't know if you're going to get it. So that's dope to see, doing my little investigations on the great merch company. I wanted to peep that shit. Magic Ninja also announced fucking Astronomicon 4 people showing up to Astronomicon 4, which is going down in August. We got Bill Moseley, of course, Kane Hodder, of course, Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, Jason Mewes, Ming Chen, Twiztid, and Corey Taylor of Slipknot. I also saw Mick Foley will be at Astronomicon 4, so that's dope. I won't probably make it out to Astronomicon, but they seem to be killing it with that shit. Monoxide was actually talking on his live stream about Corey Taylor being at Astronomicon 4 and why was Astronomicon able to get Corey Taylor after only 4 years, but Twiztid was never able to work on a song with him. I mean, that's easy. Astronomicon is not being marketed as a Twiztid thing. It's being marketed as and pushed as an Astronomicon thing on its own. It's building a name on its own that just so happens to have Twiztid at it every year. And they're obviously building a good reputation to be getting bigger names like this, like Corey Taylor. So that would be why, Monoxide. Corey Taylor probably doesn't fuck with Twiztid like that. But Astronomicon 4, they are announcing people for it this year, going down in August. Keeping it with Magic Ninja, we got New Oh the Horror. They're signed to M&E's sub-label, Welcome to the Underground. And they dropped their new single this week, Eating Me, featuring Kellen Quinn. This is more on that Screamo type shit. I dig it. This song is fucking dope in my opinion. Their new album's coming out in less than a month from now. 1692, I believe, is the name of the title of the album. And I'm really digging it. But it seems like they're really straying away from the rapping side of shit. A lot of their new singles have a lot less rapping and a lot more singing, which I don't mind because the singing's dope. But I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the rapping. But when they mixed the rapping and singing together, the shit was dope. So I'm curious to hear how the full album will be and the songs that they haven't released will sound. And that new single is up on all DSPs as of fucking right now. Go bump that shit. And it is on the Weekly Bumps playlist, the Beneath the Dirt Weekly Bumps playlist that you could follow at the link at beneathdirt.com. It'll bring you fucking right there. Then we got a little bit of ABK news. ABK fucking dropped what appears to be the cover art for the Lost War Chief Sessions Volume 2. He dropped Volume 1 a few years ago, featuring unreleased and unheard tracks from ABK. So we're getting a Volume 2 of this shit. I'm hyped for it. This dude talks about how he's got everything, different mixes of songs and all that shit. So I'm hyped for this shit. This is ABK's version of Forgotten Freshness, if you will. So I'm hyped for it. No release date, but he did say coming soon to, his merch store. So I'm hyped for that. That'll be dropping soon. And speaking of new shit, dropping, Cabal, Bukshot, Low Key, Mr. Gray officially dropped their single, Death Merchants, on all DSPs this past Friday. And you heard me talking about the song last week. I got the CD single before it hit the DSPs, and the song is fucking fire, man. I don't need to repeat myself, but I need to repeat myself. It is fucking fire. Super dope. Peep that shit. The single is out now. And then you got the pre-orders, the mystery box. The pyramid-shaped mystery box from Bukshot is up on his web store right now, limited to 100 boxes. It's $140, but this dude always packs his fucking merch, these mystery boxes, to the fucking brim, full of shit. Like that Double Dragon, even though it wasn't a mystery box, you knew what you were getting with that shit. I felt like you got your money's worth with that shit. They had the Dark Matter mystery box. You know, the UGA Dark Matter mystery box. I think they got like a jersey and another album. Like there was a whole nother album with that shit that came with it. It was crazy. So for $140, excuse me, probably get some kind of jersey, t-shirts, who the fuck knows, but it's a pyramid-shaped mystery box. I'm fucking hyped for this album. I'm fucking hyped for the album. And then he did drop the track list for it. If you go to his web store, the track list is up for the album, and this is definitely on some wicked shit. Songs like Horns of Hades, The Watchers, Dark Assembly, Death Merchants, Madness in Me, Devil Inside. And then you got the Posse cut, which I'm going to say that song is pronounced Maelstrom, featuring twiztid, a la Zuliloo, and super famous Fun Time Guys. That sounds like fucking one crazy ass way to end the fucking album. I'm hyped for this shit, man. Low key, you know, one of my favorites in the underground, Bukshot killing it with these group projects. Mr. Gray's dope. That first single, Death Merchants, is fucking fire. Peep that shit. I'm hyped for it. Super dope. And then we got new Tech 9. Kick Itter, I think, is how you pronounce it. New song from Tech 9. Up on all DSPs right now. Dope track, in my opinion. Is dope, but it ain't like the best shit I ever heard from Tech 9. Far from it. But in my, you know, it is a dope track. Definitely worth the listen. Much better than the last single he put out. The beat is fucking dope, in my opinion. I seen people complaining about the beat. I don't know why. I thought the beat was fire. But that's out now. Tech 9 also posted up on his social medias him in a fucking wheelchair in a hospital. I hope fucking Tech 9's okay. Maybe he did a little injured himself working out or something. Dude be posting up damn near every day of him working out. So no word on what the injury actually was that I've seen. But he is in a wheelchair. Didn't seem too serious from, you know, his caption on the picture. But, you know, I'll send out a get well soon to Tech 9. And to wrap it up with some strange music shit, we did get the new Joey Cool single featuring Mackenzie Nicole. What's it called? I gotta look it up real quick. My bad. Way Down. I did peep it because it is on the Weekly Bumps playlist. I always listen to the Weekly Bumps playlist, so I did listen to the track once, and it wasn't a bad track. Mackenzie Nicole just kind of had some background vocals on it. I think this was the first song I've ever heard from Joey Cool. I don't know if I've ever listened to any other shit. I know I cover his shit when he releases it because it's strange music, and I cover all of strange music shit on here. But that new Joey Cool featuring Mackenzie Nicole is out now. And I'm going to wrap this bitch up. We over an hour in this bitch. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. ICP's weekly the monthly stream is coming back next week, but has yet to ship out the gift bags. And I purposely didn't talk about it. Johnny Richter being fucking screwed over by D-loc. I called it. I'll say that. What else? the Cabal project. We were just talking about that. I'm super hyped for that shit. The Mike E. Clark interview, again, go peep out that fucking Mike E. Clark interview. It's super dope. And thank you again for tuning in. Much fucking love. I super appreciate it every week. And I'm gonna bounce the fuck up out of here. I'm Ron Bone of the Beneath the Dirt podcast. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.